Hi, and welcome to the Gear for Music Orchestral YouTube channel. We're here today with Nik Carter, Yamaha artist, talking about Yamaha Baritone saxophones. So we've got the YBS-480 and the YBS-62 here today, and obviously they're both magnificent instruments. What's the difference between the two of them?
Well, the 480 is a intermediate, sort of student intermediate baritone.
Yep.
And then the 62, I would say, is the entry level to your sort of professional, custom sort of baritones.
Yes.
So the 62 itself is a professional baritone saxophone, yeah. So, and then, yeah, what should we start? Cosmetic differences, I suppose. Like,
yeah,
you can see the lovely engraving on the 62.
So once you get into that sort of upper level of instrument, you get those sort of smaller details and things like that. So you have got the hand engraving all down the bell, which obviously is a lot of engraving to do on such a large instrument.
Exactly.
So the detail and decoration that you've got there is just gorgeous. And I mean, they both come in gold plated and silver plated. So that is a similarity between the two of them, but it kind of depends on the situation you're playing in or as to which one you choose for both model. I guess the large difference is the sound that they make.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So you've got the with the 480 has its own 480 neck, and the 62 has its own 62 neck. That's how they've called it. And then the other custom ones have their own variations as well. That being said, the 62's neck gives it more of a focused, centered sort of tone.
It's slightly narrower, isn't it? So you've got a faster blowing sort of narrower neck on it. So it does give it that more centered tone, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, both, as with all Yamaha saxophones, both are brilliant with the intonation.
Yes.
Really, they stand out for that. I think also on the 62, underneath it has the space for a peg.
Yes, of course. Obviously, it doesn't come included with it. It's an additional extra.
Yeah.
But there is a hole in the bottom, so you could put a peg. So if you're doing more seated work or standing and like me, you're not very tall, it just gives you that little bit of extra support, because obviously they are quite hefty things, quite heavy instruments, especially when you're playing longer sessions or swapping between, like you do yourself in different performances and shows and things. If you're swapping between this and a different saxophone, you need to know that it's going to stay secure, it's going to stay safe, and that little bit of extra support on the bottom is always helpful.
Yeah, when they're really solidly made, you know, with going to the structurally, let's call it, both of them have that same thing. So everything feels, you know, great under the fingers. Both sport the front F4 key.
Yes, you've got the special shaped F key,
Yeah.
Just to make it a little bit more ergonomic, a little bit easier under the hands.
There's I think there's improvements as well. If I spin it around, the low A key on the back.
Yes.
And the same with that one. There's
here.
improvements from the previous models, which were the equivalent to this would have been a 32, Yamaha 32 back in the day. Again, they've made, like with all Yamahas, they've all been different improvements, you know, that along the way. Again, making things a lot easier. The keywork's a bit lighter, you know, with something like this, because it's such a big instrument.
Yeah.
You know, the ways that they can sort of, you can't cut many corners in the size of a baritone sax.
But any sort of small amount of weight that you can lose
Absolutely. And
with efficiencies is going to make a big difference. I mean, you've also got the benefit of the key work has been sort of thought about a lot to make it more ergonomic and to make it that bit easier to play, because obviously it's such a big instrument. If you're a younger player or just a smaller person, it is quite difficult sometimes to sort of be able to get your fingers around it, and especially if you're doing sort of fast passages or just doing something a little bit more complex, it can be a little bit difficult if the keys aren't in the most sort of efficient or ergonomic place.
Yeah, definitely. And that, again, it all ties in, because like we were saying about things, the crooks and the necks being more free blowing, again, being able to reach the keys, the whole thing of certainly when you're playing right down the bottom here and you're closing all the keys like that, you want everything to be, you want to make sure that you're able to reach that to close those. And again, you're aided by something being more free blowing. It all helps when playing those lower instruments, because just again, because it's so big, the air is flowing all the way down here, all the way down. It's not as like with an alto or something where it's just smaller. There's less distance for the air to travel to produce the sound, And
it's why points like the octave mech and things like this, the fact that they do have sort of have made improvements and like reinforcements and upgrades and things to these points, which traditionally you would lose resonance, and the fact that it has to go so far, little points like that, the fact that they've thought about it and made it more efficient so they don't get lost as much at those points, really does help you create that sort of consistent
across
sound.
The board, the range as well. I think that's where the improvement's been made as well. The baritone is known for playing low. It's the biggest of the common saxophone family. The soprano, alto, tenor, baritone. It's the biggest
you
of
can
the
go
Yamaha
bigger,
range.
but it's not as common.
Yeah. So with that, but you also have the facility of playing higher, and I think composers, people that are writing for these instruments, and they could be writing, for if you're doing grades on it, if you're doing different concert bands, different music that's going to be put in front of you, you're playing higher on the instrument than you perhaps would have done before.
Yeah.
So I think that these things have been built to improve those things, as opposed to just, let's make a great low noise down the bottom. It's like, well, actually, they've got a really beautiful sound up the top, which is brilliant, all the way up to, the high E.
And I mean, the fact that they've really considered that people are writing music for those sort of, that range now, they've made it so the full range is so excellent across it.
And I think with the range, I'm just checking, this goes up to, I spoke about the front forked F.
Yeah.
So this one goes up to a high F. I believe that one goes up to a high F sharp, which is down here, the high F sharp key.
Yeah.
So that's another addition, which actually is, that's quite a big addition, an extra key.
Yes.
So that's something that you are getting with...
your increased range.
Definitely, yeah. And that's something, again, being written for, that's a... an important note with composers and things, to sort of be able to have. So, yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, no, it's great. So obviously, it is a big instrument, and Yamaha have taken that into consideration with the placement of the sling hook and the adjustable thumb rest as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are there's not too much that one can do with it, because it's just, it is a big instrument.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I started playing my first baritone when I was about 14, and I wasn't an overly big kid as well, tall or anything. So I think, and again, with the improvements of the key work and things, I would suggest a good, strong, a proper harness and stuff if you're sort of younger, to look after your back and things. And but again, the placement of the sling hook, again, will allow you to use the different neck straps and harnesses and things that are on the market. They've really
just helps you to
considered
balance
that.
it a bit more when you are stood up playing.
Because it is the weight of it for standing and sitting and your sort of posture with it. So, but again, the as I say, as it all fits under the fingers and stuff, it makes it as easy as it can be for playing this, So, and they're so much fun. So I'd really encourage anyone to do it. I think it's possibly the coolest saxophone. So yeah,
it definitely is. And I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a go?
Exactly.
So overall, the biggest differences between the two then, you've got the different styles of neck. You've got the 480 versus the 62 style, which obviously gives the 62 that slightly superior sound, that slightly more consistent tone. You've also got the smaller details like the hand engraving, and you've also got the F-sharp key, just allowing it to have that little bit more of an extended range. But both of them are excellent instruments, and they will really support you through your journey. And a 480 is a great place to start, and equally the 62 is also an excellent instrument.
Definitely, yeah. And the 62 will serve anyone professionally. I had one for years. It's been brilliant. I've used it for a long time, you know. So, and they've made improvements on, again, with this new 62 as opposed to the one I played and stuff. So yeah, they're great. They're really good horns, you know. And
always working to improve it, always trying to make it better, and I'm sure they will continue to do so.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking about them
with
us today. If you've got any more questions about Yamaha baritone saxophones or any of the saxophones in their range, please drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, hit subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you next time.